and welcome to my channel. My name is Yasmin and this video is going to be on powerful advice on learning to love yourself. My name on here is Yasmin Amour. Amour in French means love, so that's kind of my vibe for these videos, very centered on love and more importantly self-love. I'm 23. I am about to earn my bachelor's degree in psychology, and I'm also a certified personal trainer. So I'm big on health, both physical and mental, with a little more emphasis on the mental. Gotta cleanse the energy for this video. I'll give you some background on my experience, my own personal experience with self-love, to kind of lead into the gist of this video. Growing up, through adolescence into young adulthood, I struggled a lot with comparisons. I compared myself to pretty much anyone and everyone in all types of ways, physical, mental, personality-wise, achievement-wise, everything. So comparisons were a very big part of my experience coming into myself, and they caused a lot of harm and pain in my journey. I was also very insecure. I was a very shy person and just didn't really feel like I knew who I was or I knew my place in this world. Then when I was probably 18, social media became really big. More importantly, Instagram became really big. And Instagram, as we know, is very centered on images and very looks oriented for the most part. So all of a sudden, instead of being in my high school where I had a large amount of people to compare myself to, but nothing like what was the case when Instagram became big, all of a sudden I could scroll through my phone and just see countless images of women that I thought were more beautiful than me, had a nicer body, were doing more with their lives, were making more money, everything that could be presented to you through an image. So that became an issue and greatly affected me for many years. I'm not gonna lie and say it doesn't affect me anymore. It still does, but I have put a lot of work into overcoming the need to compare. So Instagram, a big section of what goes on there is fitness oriented, and I started to see women who were doing weightlifting. So I started lifting weights, eventually learned what I was doing, got really into it, definitely made progress, definitely learned a lot. Overall, it was a good experience, I would say. I took a lot of knowledge on exercise with me. I still exercise to this day. So it really introduced me to the whole world of being in a gym. But it also kind of got me more into this mindset where I was very focused on my physical appearance, and now I was even more so focused on, okay, this is the progress I've made in the gym, this is the progress that this woman on Instagram has made, I don't compare to that, I need to do more, I need to eat more, I need to lift more, I need to be more consistent. And it still kind of kept me in this comparison loop, which was not healthy, and definitely contributed a lot to my unhappiness at the time. Yeah, that was my experience getting into the fitness life. And then the pandemic hit, gyms closed. I obviously didn't have the option to go in and lift weights anymore. And that was a big switch for me. That was, as it was for all of us, very life-altering. I felt like a big piece of my identity, which was going to the gym and building this body that I wanted, was stripped away from me very quickly. And that was that. And I had to kind of figure out how to go about reinventing a sense of self without being able to go into the gym and lift weights. That is what led me down the self-love path. And I eventually took up some practices that really transformed my life and transformed my sense of self, detached it from my physical appearance. And that is what I want to share with you today. These are some super powerful activities, practices that I took up in my life to build this sense of self-love that I really didn't even have. And they're amazing and they changed my life, and so I really want to share them with you. So the number one thing that I learned and started to practice was to stop comparing myself. What I mean when I say I stopped comparing myself is that I became a lot more conscious about it. So I guess I could say I stopped unconsciously comparing myself. So I made a point to remind myself when I'd be scrolling through Instagram and see someone who's prettier or doing more with their life, more successful, whatever it is, to remind myself that I'm a different person than them. We're each unique individuals with our own incredible abilities, talents, capabilities. That's the same thing as abilities, pretty much. We're two individual people, and so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to compare myself to them in such foundational ways. Like, our lives are just different. We're different people. Our paths are different. I became a lot more aware of that. So the second big thing that I did, that I took up to kind of build this self-love that I now have for myself, was that I began to actually practice self-love daily. I really believe it's a practice. I think that self-love is not really something we're taught. So I did feel as though I had to really teach myself and make it a practice and thing that I consciously did every day to really build up this sense of love for myself. We're all individual people. We react to things differently. We like different things. So partly this is a very personal experience, kind of testing the water and seeing what works best for you. Some of the things that I took up that have worked really well for me and that I still make a point to do to this day are meditation. So I'm big into meditating. I struggle with it. It's not an easy thing to do. We constantly have so many thoughts going on in our minds, and to just sit and be still and try to kind of ignore those thoughts and clear the mind, it's hard. I feel like many of these things, if not all, are lifelong practices. Self-love is a lifelong practice. It's not something that you wake up one day and you just have it all down. But it's so worth it. It's so worth it. Just trust me on that. So meditation is a big one. Journaling. I started to journal. I started to really just sit down with my thoughts, sit down with what was going on in my mind. At times it was really dark things. I struggle with anxiety. I would just sit down with myself with a notebook and just write. And I know that's not easy for everyone, but it can be very healing to actually sit down and just write out what's going on with you. I mean, you can write about all types of things, and I could make a whole other video on that, but just start with like writing how you feel in the moment. How do you feel? And then why do you feel that way? What could you do to change that? The third practice that I brought into my life was reading. I found some really amazing, powerful books. Again, another video I could make kind of going into which books I read that really changed my life. But reading in general, I mean, I think a lot of this has to do with the mind, like taking yourself out of your mind, because that's where a lot of unhappiness can stem from, and that's where the comparisons stem from, and the lack of self-love. So meditation takes you out of your mind. Journaling takes you out of your mind. Reading takes you out of your mind. I think that's why these practices are so powerful. The fourth practice that I took up was mirror affirmations. Again, something I still do most days. I am strong, I am capable, I am beautiful, I am intelligent. Whatever it is, whatever speaks to you. I have a list of them in a calendar event on my phone, and I say them to myself in the mirror pretty much every morning. Yoga is another great one. Yoga kind of goes hand in hand with meditation. I feel like the breath work really kind of puts you in a similar meditative state, but it's like you're still doing something with your body, you're not just sitting there. So some people, maybe yoga would speak to you more than meditation does. It's just whatever helps you kind of get out of your mind and let go of your thoughts for a little while. One other thing that I took up in my life that really made a difference was I started to spend more time in nature. So I live in Minnesota right now. It's pretty cold outside. I still make an effort to get out in the fresh air because I've realized that it makes a huge difference in my state of mind, and it is also kind of meditative to just be outside, breathe in fresh air, even if it's really cold fresh air, listen to the birds singing, look up at the clouds, touch a tree, whatever it is that helps you get outside, breathe in some fresh air. I think that can be extremely healing as well, and also foster a sense of love for nature and love for yourself, because ultimately they're both connected. It's all connected. Those are my big tips, and I know that sounds like a lot. First of all, these are just several practices that I've taken up. I don't do them all every single day. Some days I don't do any of them, but I do think that it's really important to at least be aware of these types of things that you can do and to make a conscious effort to do them more often than maybe you do now. And even if, whatever that looks like for you. So maybe some people have 2 hours to put into this every day. Then you could probably do a lot of it. But some people might just have 30 minutes, and that is enough. As long as you are consciously making an effort to put aside some of your day, to put aside some of your time every day, and that time is for you, to focus on you, to give love to yourself, even if that's just taking a bath and relaxing, like whatever that looks like for you. I think it's super important to make a point of, okay, every day, or every other day even, I need time for myself because I'm my number one priority, and I really want to foster a sense of love for myself, and I know that's going to take some effort, time, and commitment. So that's a big, whatever the time frame looks like to you, however busy you are, you have at least 15 to 30 minutes to put into yourself. You will see almost immediately the impact that doing these types of things will have on you. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Please like it if it resonates with you. Subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be posting a lot more content in the coming weeks, months, etc. All kind of related to these things that I've discussed in this video. A lot of mindset focused stuff, self-love, some fitness, because I do still think there's a place for that in this whole journey. But yeah, just mostly trying to spread the love. I think we need that. We need that on social media, and I would love to be someone who helps get this message out to you. Any ideas you have of things you would like to see from me, let me know in the comments. That would be very much appreciated. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.